I'm the dude. So that's what you call me.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah, not since I was 10.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Come on to the coast. We get together, have a few laughs.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
I didn't feel like a mother. But she pressured me.
Then why did you have me?
It wasn't my fault. I tried to stop it.
How?
I tried to have a miscarriage.
How?
However I could. I did everything they told me not to do, but it didn't work. I'm happy it didn't work.
You tried to kill me.
I love you.
Welcome back to Movie Mingle. I'm Caveman.
And I'm Maggie.
And today we're on episode number 57. And I finally got Maggie to watch Hereditary. Yay!
Yeah, I did not enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it. So.
Big shocker.
Yeah. Give it 0 stars. Oscar Isaac should have been in it. Bye.
Are you an effective team?
No, it's not that bad. But no, this wasn't my cup of tea. I like that you just. I was gonna wait, and I was just gonna let you get through it. But then you're like, nope. First things first, Maggie.
I had a feeling.
Well, yeah. How could you not tell by the crossed arms and complete grump face I had almost the entire time watching it? But I have seen it.
Hey, but before we go any further,
yes.
As of this recording,
yes,
today is this podcast's 1 year anniversary.
Hooray! Happy birthday, Movie Mingle!
Yay! It's a year old.
It's a year old.
A year old and 73
overall
episodes or reviews. Essentially episodes we've put out. Today being the 57th episode, main episode. But yeah, 73 overall.
I'm proud of us. I'm proud of you. This has really been your passion project more than mine. You're kind of the one that got the ball rolling on it. You know, it was always just a silly idea. Like, hey, let's get together and have a podcast about nerdy shit because that's kind of the best conversations that we have outside of being really cutesy and really dumb and nobody wants to listen to that. No. But, you know, you've kept us on track. You have kept, I mean, for God's sakes, there have been deaths in the family. There have been illnesses. There have been all sorts of things. And
I recently took a trip to California.
Yeah, and you've still knocked out an episode a week, both, you know, getting us to watch the movies, getting us to record, and getting and editing the whole goddamn thing. So really, I'm very, very proud of you for this little venture, and I'm really glad we've done it so far.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being my other half to the podcast and in life.
Yeah, because today is also
our
anniversary,
18th wedding anniversary. So
cheers, my love.
Cheers with a shot of whiskey.
Oh boy, Kentucky's best. No.
You know, with our...
I think the devil just came out of me.
With our tagline on Movie Mingle being, we're married to the movies, it was only fitting that the first episode
come out
on our anniversary. So
yeah, it is.
Makes sense.
And here we are still going.
And it's also easy to remember.
Thank you to all of our listeners, all of our friends and family and new friends and random strangers who have listened to the show. It really means a lot to us. It's a teeny little podcast, and we're still having fun with it. I mean, a year is a pretty big commitment when you're not being paid to do something. The fact that we are still going, that we are determined to at least finish this list, is really a testament to our love of film and our love of each other and just how much fun it's been doing this project with my favorite nerd. Like, we really did pick the right partners for this. So well done, my love.
Well done indeed.
So, do you want to just 0
Bounce,
stars?
go get some food.
Yes. Let's go get a nice lunch somewhere.
Hereditary from 2018.
Oof.
Written and directed by Ari Aster, one of my favorite directors. Midsummer being my favorite of his, and then Hereditary, and then Beau's Afraid. But this was his debut full-length theatrical film. He had been a short film director for college. He went to AFI Conservatory Film School, and the strange thing about the Johnsons was a 30-minute short film that he did for his thesis, and that film is what A24 saw it, and they kind of were like, yeah, look out for this guy. And so they hired him to work on a project, and what he pitched A24 when it came to Hereditary was pretty much that it was a family drama, and because he didn't want to scare them away with a horror film, especially the way this horror film unfolded.
Yeah.
He wanted to start it by just being a family drama. Like I said, Midsummer and Beau's Afraid are his two other directed films. He has been a producer on some other films by A24. I believe he did that Sasquatch Sunset movie with Jesse Eisenberg, where it was just
like all Bigfoot
movie.
Yeah.
That I haven't seen yet, but it looked ridiculous, but right up my alley. Ari Aster is one of those directors that every time a new movie comes out, I get really excited about it. Beau's Afraid was probably one of his least liked films, but I remember being in the theater for that one by myself, not a single other person there, and me just completely locked into the movie and laughing out loud, which I don't really.
No, you're a pretty quiet moviegoer. Much to my annoyance and your annoyance, because I'm a very loud moviegoer.
Yes, we're complete opposites when we're in the theater.
Yeah.
Because nobody was in the theater, I felt very free to just have whatever reaction I wanted. So that was a lot of fun. And his newest film, hopefully coming out this year, called Eddington. Of course, I'm very excited about it. It's got Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, Luke Grimes, Austin Butler, Joaquin Phoenix, Clifton Collins Jr., and a bunch of other people that I'm looking forward to seeing. So he's always just one of those directors I'm constantly waiting for the next thing to come out. Kind of like Jordan Peele, Robert Eggers, Alex Garland. Right now, those are the directors that I get really excited about when I hear they've got a new project. Bong Joon-ho. The music for Hereditary was by Colin Stetson. He did the music for Netflix's Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2022. He also did the music for The Menu, which both Maggie and I really liked.
Yeah, that is a great film.
We have an episode of that on this podcast. And he also played the saxophone for the music on Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh.
So if you can pick up that saxophone in any of the music,
it's the guy that did the music.
The guy that did the Hereditary.
Yeah, no, the music was eerie and creepy and gave me anxiety, and I didn't like that.
Oh man, I love the music from it because there's this constant like thumping or drumming in like goes throughout the entire movie, and sometimes it's loud. Sometimes it's super quiet, but it's just.
But it's faster than a heartbeat, so it was giving me anxiety the whole time.
Yeah, it goes throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, no,
and
it was perfect for this film because it was terrifying.
And then there's this creepy. I thought it was some kind of digital synth sound that he got for the movie, but throughout the movie, there's also just this really creepy noise that sounds like this. And I couldn't tell what that was from, and then I saw a video of the composer Colin Stetson playing his saxophone to get that noise. So that was...
Do you know what type of saxophone was it? Was it the subcontrabass saxophone, which is the largest
massive.
saxophone?
It was a big sax. I have a friend who plays the Barry sax.
Yeah.
And it was bigger than that. So it has to be... I don't know if there's a bass sax or if there's just
there's the contrabass saxophone, which is the second lowest pitched saxophone, and then there's the subcontrabass saxophone, which is the largest saxophone in the saxophone family, named the Sax Burden by Adelphi Sax in 1846. It's one octave below the bass saxophone, so it's a deep one.
Very deep.
Yeah. Either way, it was terrifying.
Like it's supposed to be.
No.
Cinematography, of course, by one of my favorites, Paweł Pogorzelski. He worked on Ari Aster's other films, all of his other films, including his short, The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. He started off working on Canadian film and television, and the only thing he's done outside of Ari Aster and Canada seems to be the cinematography for Blue Beetle.
Oh. Okay. The cinematography was one of the few things I can appreciate about this film. It was beautifully shot. The way that the films were set, or the shots were set up, the symmetry to all of that was striking. So yeah, he did a really good job there.
Oh yeah, I love the cinematography from this movie. I love his cinematography even more in Midsommar, which I think I nerd out a little bit about that on our Midsommar podcast.
Yeah, Midsommar was a beautiful film.
See, at least I got you to kind of like one of his movies.
Well,
kind of.
In a little bit, I will explain to you why I liked Midsommar and not this film.
Sure. Rotten Tomatoes has Hereditary 90% from critics and 71% from audiences, which audiences just don't like Hereditary. Well, not as much. Critics loved
Which is
Hereditary.
funny because I've never fucking heard anybody shut the fuck up about Hereditary. Everybody that I know has seen this movie and has loved it and has raved about it for so long that it's frankly a little annoying, guys. Like, settle down.
It was made for only $10 million and made $44 million domestically and another $44 million internationally, and topped off with a nice $5 million on home media for a total of $93 million from a $10 million film.
Apparently, Hereditary got a D+ from Cinema Score. I think that it could have been, too, that your average moviegoer...
I mean, a 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb, which is pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't know how it got a D+ on Cinema Score. In fact, there's an entire article in Variety about it.
Of course there is.
But, I could read, but instead I'm going to focus on the podcast. But, again, like, I feel like your average moviegoer kind of maybe not expecting what this film is going into it, was going to come out of it with a lot of what the fuck, and, oh boy. Cinema fans and horror fans, notwithstanding, your average, like, if my grandpa, I kind of sometimes use the barometer of having to explain movies to my grandpa, because those are my favorite memories of my grandfather's. He would call me up and he'd be like, well, Maggie, what movie should Carol and I go see? And then I would, like, on the phone, or I'd go over to their house because I lived really close by, I would sit down with him and walk them through each movie that was airing, at the cinema, out of the newspaper clipping with all the times on it, back when they used to print the times for movies in newspapers, which, God, I miss. Such an old thing, but I loved it so much, having to find the entertainment. Anyways, and he'd be like, what about this Hereditary? And I'd be like, no, Grandpa. don't go see that.
Don't go see that.
It looks like a scary movie, and I just don't think you'd like that. But I could also see it being the type of movie that he would have unknowingly gone and seen, and then walked out and been like, "What the fuck?" So, yeah, maybe that's why it got kind of a lower cinema score, because they usually take those as you're walking straight out, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know how they get it, but
I mean, Hereditary is one of those horror movie fans movies. A lot of horror movie fans really love this movie. Like I said, still made $93 million from a $10 million budget.
Yeah, I mean,
and even Midsummer was made for $9 million, and it made 53, which is much more, but 53 is still a lot, and which makes sense that after doing two $10 million budgets and then having such a great return on those two movies, it doesn't surprise me that they're like, all right, your next movie, here's 30, and you get to do whatever you want. And he's like, holy shit, I have $30 million, and I get to do what?
You shouldn't have said that.
He got everything. I think he even got Last Cut. Hereditary won 52 awards and was nominated for 113. The Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films gave their Saturn Award to Ari Aster for being a breakout director. It was also nominated for Best Horror Film and Best Actress, Toni Collette, through the Saturn Awards. I remember Dan Murrell from Screen Junkies. When Hereditary came out, he was a huge fan of Hereditary.
Yeah.
And a big, big fan of Toni Collette's. And
fucking everybody wanted Toni Collette to be nominated for an Oscar.
He thought it was one of the biggest Oscar snubs ever that Toni Collette wasn't even nominated.
Which, like, of course it's not going to be because it's a horror film. And
she was at least nominated for Critics' Choice and Independent Spirit Award.
Yeah.
She didn't win, but at least she got nominated from those two.
I think Toni Collette had to crawl so that Demi Moore could walk, so that some scream queen in the future can
There's
run
going to be
away
a scream
from the Oscars.
queen.
Yeah.
There's going to be an Oscar-winning scream queen eventually.
It's going to be on the backs of, on a lot of scream queens, but definitely on Toni Collette for this film, definitely Demi Moore for The Substance. Like, they'll get there eventually, but it had to take somebody putting out such a good performance, because she really is pretty phenomenal in this film. I hate to admit it, but she is.
Toni Collette's amazing in this movie.
But like, it had to start on the backs of people recognizing what a great acting performance can be given in a horror film, and then slowly they're going to claw their way.
And obviously,
to
it has to be a movie like Hereditary or The Substance to give them that boost to get the nomination, because
it can't just be your like
Jenna Ortega's not going to get it from Scream.
No.
You gotta.
Yeah, it's not just horror films. It's not just any horror film. It's artsy, thoughtful.
Thoughtful, political. Having something to say. And Hereditary. Well, I don't know.
Hereditary doesn't have a
really
whole
specific
lot to say,
thing to say about the world. I'm sure Ari Aster would probably say something about the family dynamic and.
Well, it is a movie about grief, and we've seen movies about grief.
Absolutely. But as far as getting deeper into like some kind of political thing, kind of the way The Substance did.
It doesn't always have to be political. It just has to be a movie that's deeper than man puts on mask, kills naked teens.
Sure. I'm just saying, usually the easy way around to that is something, a commentary on society, and it usually ends up being a political film.
Movies on grief are also commentaries on society,
That's very true.
Yeah.
The biggest award she got for her role in Hereditary was she did win the Fangoria Chainsaw Award, which I think any
and I
horror...
hope it's proudly sitting on her desk.
Me too. Every horror fan... or anybody in a horror movie should be proud to get a Fangoria Chainsaw Award.
It also won Best Kill for Charlie Meets Telephone Pole. That's fucked up.
That was a good kill.
Yeah.
Good kill.
Oh god, I wonder what the other best kills have been for the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. That might send me down a rabbit hole.
We could get into a rabbit hole and talk about have a whole episode devoted to that. Well, let's get into this fantastic cast, in my opinion. Toni Collette as Annie, the mom, the matriarch. The current matriarch, the past matriarch died. I guess she was a force. Her mother, it was quite the force. It seemed, because we never really see her.
No, we don't see her
alive.
She's there, but she's not
other than
there.
Photographs.
Yeah, and or just a ghostly apparition.
There are
standing
ghostly
in a corner.
apparitions. Yeah. Either standing in a corner or bowing, headless. Yeah, obviously somebody who, in the moment when you're not really thinking about the king of hell coming after your family, you do just think your mom has
Might
lost
be a little
it.
Fucking crazy. Yeah.
And the way she treated
her son.
Well, because her son, Toni Collette's son, she kept her mother away from him. And her mother needed a
host,
a male host.
Yeah.
And so because she couldn't get her clutches, as her claws, into the son, she went after the daughter once her daughter was born, and I guess even breastfed her, it seemed.
Was that the implication?
Well,
because
she
wanted to.
She talked about it in therapy.
She said she wanted to feed
him.
her.
Yeah, feed her.
Yeah, but it never. The implication was.
But
never
then when she did the miniatures, it seemed very.
If I were a first time, if it were me and my mother was like, "Here, let me breastfeed your child for you," I'd be like, "No, thank you. I love my mom.
Thanks for offering.
My mom breastfed me, but I don't need that. Also, the only thing coming out of those pipes was old rust. So, sorry, Mom. You're not listening to this one. I'm just saying it would have been
rusty old pipes.
It would have been a lot of,
brown powder.
Powdered milk. It would have been powdered milk.
Gross.
And powdered milk's disgusting. So
Toni Collette. Toni Collette's
she's great.
Amazing.
I'm looking through her.
She was amazing in The Sixth Sense. I remember her being the mom from About a Boy.
I've heard people talk about Muriel's Wedding forever, and I myself have never actually seen Muriel's Wedding, but I know it is a beloved Australian rom-com. I love About a Boy. I love her performance in About a Boy. That movie is very dear to me.
You and I loved her in Knives Out.
She was great in Knives Out. I don't remember her in Fright Night, but I enjoyed Fright Night. It was just kind of stupid.
I think she was also the mom in that.
Yeah.
Plays moms a lot.
She was in
Especially single moms.
She was in Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage.
Ooh.
Yeah. Don't know who she played in that, but I'm assuming it was a big character. Yeah, probably my favorite thing that she's ever done has been About a Boy. That movie is very, very dear to my heart. But I'm never unhappy to see her pop up in anything, Toni.
No, I mean,
great. I watched a movie not too long ago called Dream Horse with Damian Lewis and who else was that? It was really just Toni Collette and Damian Lewis and a handful of other people that I kind of half recognized, about a woman that accidentally buys a racing horse and then actually does race it and, tries to get it to win. It was one of those wholesome sort of small Welsh town gathers around the local horse to win the big race type of movies. But yeah, Toni Collette's great. She's great. She was incredible in Knives Out as that dumb blonde bimbo. Nobody could have played it as well as she did.
It's great. Next we have Millie Shapiro playing the daughter Charlie. Millie Shapiro, this was her first film, and before this she was on Broadway.
Oh.
I don't know.
Matilda.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'd like to see her in more things. I've only seen her in this. It would be interesting to see what else she can do.
Other than just stare off into the middle distance and make a noise.
Hey, that is creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Gabriel Byrne.
Oh, fucking Gabriel.
Played Steve the dad.
Damn, fucking Gabriel Byrne. Oh, God, that man
Burn
was
my
so
urethra.
hot. Oh, what?
Am I right?
Yes. Yeah, fucking Gabriel.
Probably one of the most, the biggest movie that I can think of him in is The Usual Suspects. He's got, I think, the main part, or one of the main parts.
Wasn't he in? He was in Man in the Iron Mask, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he was D'Artagnan.
Yeah, which is funny. I think I wrote it on Threads, and I walked into Man in the Iron Mask into the movie theater to see that film when it came out. I walked in thinking that Leonardo DiCaprio was going to be the whole reason for that film, and I walked out being like, God damn it, I got a boner for Gabriel Byrne now. Like, that movie made me irrepressibly attracted, and mind you, I was a teenager, but unbearably attracted to Gabriel Byrne, fucking John Malkovich, and who else? Oh, Jeremy Irons. Fucking Jeremy. Goddamn Irons. Whew. So.
He also, one of the other roles I remember him from, I haven't seen a lot of Gabriel Byrne, but especially D'Artagnan. Like you said, D'Artagnan, I've seen him, I like him in Usual Suspects, and then I remember he played Satan in Arnold Schwarzenegger's End of Days.
Yeah.
Where Schwarzenegger plays a cop. A cop versus Satan.
I mean, between fucking Gabriel Byrne as Satan and Viggo Mortensen as Satan, this girl's going right to hell. God,
and then Peter Stormare as Satan.
Have you ever seen Cool World? That Brad Pitt, like...
I've never seen it. Roger Rabbit-y kind of...
I saw it forever ago.
It always looks so bad. It
wasn't great, but I also kind of remember it being great. I mean, God's sakes, Gabriel Byrne's been in so many things. I'm shocked that you haven't seen, like, Excalibur. I'm shocked that you haven't seen...
Excalibur?
He was in the first Little Women, which we still haven't seen. Enemy of the State with Will Smith and Gene Hackman.
I've seen that movie, but I just remember Will Smith and Gene Hackman. I'm just saying he had standout big roles in those other ones.
Yeah.
He was one of the main... He was a leading guy.
He was the stuff that you remember seeing him
he's not a leading guy in a lot of movies. He's usually...
he's an excellent character actor.
He is a character actor, but when he gets to do a lead role, I really enjoy those movies.
And goddamn is he hot. Anyways, what?
Next we've got Alex Wolff as Peter. One of my favorite... Alex Wolff movies would probably have to be Jumanji. Yeah. Even though he's not in it much because he's the kid before he goes into the jungle, so he's only in the real world at any time. But I like him then. That's kind of how I've kind of got to know who he was.
Those Jumanji movies are so much better than they had any right being.
Right. And...
Like, we all didn't want it to be good. We were like, The Rock in a Jumanji film? Like, what?
The Rock in another jungle movie?
Him and fucking Kevin Hart again, like, ugh. And then you're like, oh, wait, no, this is, like,
it's better than
the second Jumanji film is legitimately, like, heartfelt and made me cry. So, I really like this one. He's also in Oppenheimer as a bit part, like everyone is.
I don't remember him in Oppenheimer.
Because he had probably a line in 1 second on screen.
Right.
Everybody was in
needed
Oppenheimer.
At least one line in it.
He's a good little actor. My main issue with him in this movie is that he was 20 when he filmed it, and he looked 25.
He did not look 25.
He looked 25.
He looked like
25.
he was in high school.
He did not look like
senior,
he was in high school.
Maybe.
Nope, he looked 25.
No,
he looked just as bad as fucking the guy from Dear Evan Hansen. He just looked so goddamn old to play. When he was with other teenagers, it was really noticeable.
At least he looked younger than the guys from 21st Jump Street or...
He looked like he could have been a part of 20. If that guy went to my high school, I'd be like, dude, what's up, 21st Jump Street? That would be his nickname.
Or Steve Buscemi coming in.
How do you do, fellow kids?
That was 100% him in this movie.
No, it wasn't.
He didn't look like a teenager.
He was in Pig with, that's a great movie with Nicolas Cage. I don't remember his part in that, too.
Did you see A Quiet Place Day One?
No, I did not.
You wanted to, though, right?
I do still want to.
Just haven't.
I still haven't watched Quiet Place 2, so.
There's a Quiet Place. There's been 3 Quiet Places?
Yeah, Day One's the third one.
Oh, damn. Or the first one, depending on how you look at it.
Depending on how.
Yeah.
What about certain points of view? I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. I don't care about any of those people.
And Dad would probably be the...
And Dad would be the next one. You're right. Next we have Ann Dowd playing Joan. And I love Ann Dowd.
Great character actress.
When
I first saw her, I was like, character actress
Margot Martindale? No, it's Ann Dowd.
So close.
Character
actress Ann Dowd?
Yeah. Ann Dowd was in The Leftovers, and she plays this really, really terrifying character.
I think the same was said for her character in The Handmaid's Tale.
Same.
She plays a really awful woman.
Right. Aunt Lydia. Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Neither one of them are great people.
I mean, this character wasn't a great person either, if
no.
you think about it.
Not at all.
Yeah, going through her list, I don't remember her in Garden State, but I know she was in Garden State. I think I saw Apt Pupil Forever and a Day Ago, and I did not enjoy it.
And if anybody has watched the Terminator Zero animated series, she's the Prophet in that.
Yeah, but she's just one of those kind of great characters. She does a great job in this. At first you're like, she's...
Oh, it's just a nice
old lady.
If you knew her from The Leftovers or Handmaid's Tale, you would probably instantly hate her or be very cautious of her. But if you're not, she just seems like a very kind, caring, just wants Annie to be...
Just a nice, helpful lady.
Yeah,
help her through her grief.
Help her with her grief.
Yeah.
So Hereditary is essentially starts off as a family tragedy, Annie losing her mom, her kids, or at least one of them. Sad that grandma's gone.
Yeah.
Obviously she starts thinking that she's seeing her mom in the darkness. Nothing too creepy.
There's a general sense of anxiety.
Anxiety and kind of grief.
Yeah.
That it starts off with, and you're kind of trying to get to understand the mom's life when she was alive. Nothing too creepy happens. Annie goes to therapy, group therapy to help with her grief, the loss of her mom. But then I think she probably only goes once. But it's not until Peter wants to go to a party that things go downhill real fast.
Go downhill real fast, yeah. I get why she sent the daughter, because he didn't really imply that. He implied that it was a school gathering, not a party.
Right.
So you'd think that it's at the school. And then secondly, she doesn't want him to drink because he's a stupid teenager and he's driving. So I can understand then why she would be like, oh, you need to take the kid with you. But...
he'll behave if she's with you.
Yeah, but...
Thinking that he'll take responsibility.
Then just don't go.
Yeah.
Don't let him go, or don't send your kid.
Yeah, she didn't want to go, but...
Charlie was 13?
Yeah, 13. She said 13.
And he's supposed to be 16?
Yeah.
Not 25?
He's 18.
Is he?
He was 2 years away from 18, yeah.
Yeah, so he was 16.
He was 20.
He's 25. Third base.
40. Let's just make it 40.
You look 40. Yeah, I think I wrote, no kid should be at this fucking party. Because, if... I'm just saying that, I'm at least in tune enough with teenagers these days. Obviously, Annie wasn't, but I'm at least a little more in tune with teenagers these days. As an adult, that if I... That sounds weird, but what I mean to say is that I wouldn't send my 13-year-old to a high school party. Because even though some of these kids are 2 to 3 years older than a 13-year-old, that's still lengths of maturity and debauchery.
Huge difference between 13 and 16.
Yeah.
Other than just 3 years. There's the whole... You've been through... You're in your third year of high school, more than likely.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother thing outside of from what you learned in middle school. So yeah, and Charlie's not wrong for not wanting to go. Yeah. You'll make friends. No, she's not. She's 13. She's not going to make friends with 16-year-olds
at a high school party.
No.
No, absolutely not.
Could you imagine our son going to go hang out with our daughter? Because that's essentially what it will.
Actually, weirdly, yes, I could imagine that, because they have similar sense, and our kids would be a fucking D&D night.
That's true. It's not going to be.
It's not going to be like a high school party.
No, those D&D parties get lit.
Well, we have enough mead and things get crazy.
That's right. We're all drinking mead tonight. And honestly, before I sent my child with him, I probably would have offered just to drive him.
Yeah.
Unless it was. It seemed like it was a long.
It seemed like a pretty far away.
Pretty distant drive. Yeah, you're right. Probably just fine. Don't go.
Yeah. No, the answer is no, not tonight. And then none of this would have happened. But then they would have found another way to decapitate that poor child.
Yes. So now Annie obviously is going through even worse grief of losing a child. And I mean the whole way that she discovered her daughter's body.
So, how did he not get in trouble for that? How was there no legal recourse for that?
You would think that manslaughter
Easily
would have been, especially because he just drove home and went to bed.
Yeah. Which, can...
I guess you could...
That is explained away by shock but
sure.
that has never been a valuable excuse for the law.
Right.
I mean, at the very least, you probably get they take some leniency on you. But they wouldn't just, who found the head?
Well, your eyes were shut.
Who finds the head?
Nobody found the head.
I've seen
out in
the head.
desert covered in ants.
Exactly. But, how do do you have to get the coroner involved? Do you have to get... There should have been some legal recourse. And maybe that's what bothers me most about this movie.
No, see, I guess there's no such thing as manslaughter in this world.
Yeah. Or cops. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to call 911. I'm going to say, hey, 911. My son was driving my daughter last night, and when I woke up this morning, went out to my car, my daughter's decapitated body was found in the car. We don't know where the head is, and they're dead. Can you send a fucking hearse? And they're just like, okie dokie, that's normal. Tappity tap tap. Who the fuck?
We edited past that point. You don't have to watch every single moment.
It's a glaring plot hole, but... Whatever.
Yes, I know. He did not really, other than the guilt. That's the only. That's really the only punishment he gets. Yeah. He has to live with the guilt of killing his sister.
Yeah. Well, not for long.
And you know what? I wouldn't even say that she died as a result of him smoking pot. I would say that she ate cake that had nuts in it, which I don't. It's a chocolate cake. I don't know why people are putting nuts in it.
Because chocolate nuts is delicious.
Just make a chocolate cake.
Well, and also, is she aware that she has an allergy to hazelnuts or walnuts or whatever it was?
No, there was said earlier in the movie that she has a nut allergy.
So then why didn't she have an EpiPen
I know, she should have had an EpiPen with her.
She should have known, this is what, she's like, my throat feels funny. I'm having an allergic reaction. If they know that she's allergic to that thing, then she's got to also be aware.
Yeah, it makes me wonder when the last time she experienced it.
Yeah, did they say, oh, she has a nut allergy, but don't tell her?
Or at a young
age. Why did she eat a cake that has nuts in it?
She might know she has an allergy, but not know what it feels like to get that allergy.
But if you know that you have a nut allergy and somebody hands you a piece of cake with nuts clearly in it, you gotta be like, are these hazelnuts? Oh, I can't have that.
She cuts heads off of birds and puts them on little...
What a weird fucking little fucking kid with bags under her eyes deeper than mine.
Joan is introduced into the film as this
nice
kind old lady who lost her son and grandson.
Mm-hmm.
And you think she's just this helpful lady helping Annie deal with grief and the loss of her daughter. And for the most part, you think that's the way it's going. And then you learn Joan has learned how to conjure spirits. And Annie tries it, and it works. And it just makes Peter and Stephen even more worried for her and a little disturbed.
Poor Stephen. He chose poorly.
Poor Stephen.
When it came to wives, he chose poorly, which is what I hope that people say about you one day.
I probably did.
Hey, you did.
Well, as it turns out, Annie is not just a kind lady who wants to help with Annie's grief. She is a friend of Annie's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And together they are part of a cult who worships the king.
One of the kings.
One of the kings of hell.
7 kings of hell.
Well, yes, because there are boroughs in hell, and each king rules each borough, and Satan just rules over the entire area.
So is Hell's Kitchen the same in hell as it is on Earth?
Yeah. It all reflects New York.
Yeah, it's just all New York.
There are a lot of clues to certain things. Like when you watch again, there's There's this symbol that's
I
constantly
clocked the symbol.
shown. There,
and-
there's one on the telephone pole where Charlie died.
Yeah, there's all the weird ways people are staring at her at the funeral.
Yeah, there's her mom wore a necklace with it. It was written in blood above her headless body
That
later.
was in the fucking attic because, again, there's no police activity at all. I mean, I'm sorry, your mother's grave was, or your mother-in-law's grave was exhumed. It was defiled.
Yeah.
And this just doesn't go to the police again.
Well, it did. Because it hit that did. They just didn't connect it back to the house, to them.
There should have been some legal recourse in this goddamn movie, but
I need to see some Law and Order.
I want to see some Law and fucking Order in Hereditary. Yeah, the cult side of it is probably one of my biggest grievances with the film.
Really?
It could have been a really good ghost story about that it was an allegory of grief. And it could have been just that, right? Just a mother who is spiraling due to the grief of her own mother's death and then her daughter's death. And, a ghostly figure or grief itself possessing her to do horrible things, right? I could have gotten behind that a little bit more than, in all actuality, this is, as Ari Aster once put it, a sacrifice from the sacrificial lamb's point of view, right?
Okay.
I was trying to explain this to coworkers the other day because they were teasing me about the podcast and about movies that I should watch because they know that I don't like horror films. And one of them was like, you need to watch the Terrifier movies. And I was like, I will absolutely not watch those.
No, you do not. No, I've seen, no.
Yeah.
No.
And
never.
And my friend was like, well, why not? You watch all these other movies. And I was like, because I do not like those types of films. She was like, but you've liked other horror movies. And I'm like, here's the thing. I like horror movies where I get to watch awful people get their comeuppance. In Midsommar, most of that cast that gets murdered off are kind of awful people.
Yeah.
To be fair, the British guy and his girlfriend, they weren't that bad.
They were just there. I think
just there.
more than anything, it's because of their freak out after the
people fell off the cliff.
Yeah.
For the most part, watching all of those terrible guys get their comeuppance one by one, delightfully fun for me. I don't like watching innocent people and innocent families and children be murdered for the sake of any reason. I don't. I put myself in their shoes too much. I put myself in the mother's and the family shoes, into the victim's shoes. There's too much evil already in this world, and there's too much innocent death already in this world. I don't want to spend my free time watching innocent people get murdered by a psycho.
Well,
I like
and
to
it's
watch.
even worse than, it's specifically Terrifier.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why they would say just because you liked The Thing.
But
you should watch the Terrifier.
It's because it's her specific favorite film.
I know, but it's a big jump from the horror movies we have been watching.
Yeah.
Even something like...
Oh, she was even like, have you seen Saw? And I was like, of course not. Yeah. But you know what?
Well, and Terrifier is like... Because they're both torture porn movies.
Yeah, which I also don't like.
And Terrifier is like Saw on acid. Yeah. Like, it's so... It's because, especially the first one, because of the way it was shot.
Yeah.
It looks so... he's just so mean to people.
Yeah.
He kills people and tortures, and sometimes he doesn't kill them right away.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of terrible things that are happening in those Terrifier movies.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I think you'd have a lot of fun when you get to watch a good comedy horror.
Yeah.
Especially something like Abigail.
Yes.
Or Shaun of the Dead. Even though you don't like zombies, it's at least still more watchable than something like any kind of slasher or torture porn movie or body horror movie.
Because again, I like watching people get their comeuppance.
Right.
So if it was like Saw with Nazis, like all the bad people were Nazis, I would probably enjoy that because fuck Nazis.
Yeah.
But just innocent people, I don't like that. And this was an innocent family. They had nothing to do with the mom and her cult. They were just out there living their life. Poor fucking Steve was just out there trying to just help his wife through grief twice.
Right.
Ignoring his own grief, too, at the sake of trying to help his wife.
Yeah, because it was his daughter, too.
Exactly.
May not have been as close with his mother-in-law, but it's his daughter that died.
Yeah. And
he still doesn't take it out on Peter the way she was.
No. Although he should have.
Plus, she has a past. She also is, telling that story of the past of when she put pretty much like paint thinner.
Yeah, she almost like lit her children
on fire. She was
sleepwalking?
She was sleepwalking. She had the match lit in her hand.
What was that? Like her unconscious way of knowing that her mother was going to kill her whole family and trying to prevent it?
And she also I know it was kind of done through a dream, but it's also supposed to be like, this is also based on a reality.
Yeah.
Her admitting that she tried to have an abortion with Peter. And I think that also stems from just having her mother.
Yeah.
Who her mother is another reason why she has, the movie's called Hereditary for a reason.
But going back to my point is that I didn't like the cult aspect of it all. Because like I said, it could have been a very good, interesting ghost story about grief. And then all of a sudden you work a cult into it, and I'm just like, well, that's fucking stupid. I felt like it took the idea, the concept that grief was what was running her pain and that grief was her ghost, that took that away and replaced it with just, it's just your average fucking demon fucking with some innocent people. And that took me right out of it. I might have enjoyed it more if it hadn't been for the cult aspect of it. Because I think that grief is a more fascinating demon than an actual fucking demon. I'm a fucking demon, as Jason Lee says in Dogma. And I just, that wasn't point one. It is my biggest problem with it. But throughout the film, I was just sitting there throwing, this isn't for me. This isn't a Maggie film.
And it makes sense. And I knew it wouldn't be for you. This one,
but I
wasn't like Midsummer. I was a little surprised that I know you didn't love Midsummer. I know that's not like your favorite movie.
No, but I did enjoy it.
But
more
you
than
do enjoy it,
yeah.
and you enjoyed Get Out, even though you probably wouldn't watch it again.
No, I enjoyed Get Out. I enjoyed.
You enjoyed Nope
so much more.
But
then that's something else that I was thinking about today.
But those are kind of like the movies that you're enjoying,
like
whereas as soon as Hereditary started coming up, and I think Hereditary is our last scary movie.
God, I would hope so. Some can argue Shutter Island, but I have seen it before.
You have seen it before, and it's more of a psychological thriller.
Yeah, than like a down-and-out horror film.
Yeah, it's not horror.
Not everybody likes chocolate. Not everybody likes quesadillas. Not everybody likes fucking Brussels sprouts. And I was trying to think of the food that I was going to compare horror movies to, because, and this might be the best example that I have. I do not like Brussels sprouts at all. I think they taste like a tiny cooked fart, because they are small heads of cooked cabbage. The only thing worse on this planet is cooked cabbage. And so now it's just a smaller, more concentrated version of cooked cabbage, and it tastes like a fart. And I do not care, Becky, how many fucking bits of bacon or unicorn tears or God's literal magic on that fucking Brussels sprout. It's gonna taste like a tiny fart. But the worst part about not liking Brussels sprouts, because they're pretty easy to avoid, right? I just don't eat them. I don't order stuff where they're on the dish, or I substitute it out. I don't make them at home. I don't eat them. But the worst part is people being like, oh my God, you just never had my Brussels sprouts. What I do is I roast them in bacon and unicorn tears and just a pinch of God's actual magic. And I'm like, it does not matter to me. And that's the worst part about disliking it. The worst part about disliking horror films is the amount of people that feel like they've got to try to convince me.
You just haven't watched the right horror film.
Or, oh God, it's so good, but you would love it. How do you know that? And yes, I say that when it comes to a lot of stuff. Although, honestly, when people come up to me like these days, like, I've never seen The Lord of the Rings, I'm like, well, I'm sorry for you. You can come over and watch it with me literally anytime you want, if you ever want to. But I'm not going to be like, I'm going to say, yeah, it's one of my favorite films, and it's like one of the greatest things ever because I love it. But I'm not going to be like, no, you must fucking love it.
And it's not going to work on other people the way. No. Like, we could sit somebody down and make them watch 12 hours of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But they'll probably hate us after the end, though.
Yeah, and that's only...
Because it's not going to hit them the same way that hit it. We saw Lord of the Rings at the right time, the right moment in time. We saw that first one in the theater, and we had to wait every year. And that kind of built up the fandom. Yeah.
But my whole point is that, like, it's the same people that are like, I don't like Star Wars. And I'm like, good for you. I don't like Star Wars fans. Like, we all have something to dislike about Star Wars. It's usually the people that like it. Like, horror films are not my thing. Have I appreciated them more? Yes. am I now a little bit more willing, depending on what the film is, to go into it for the experience of watching it with you or watching it with a group of friends or something, or watching it for the podcast? Sure. I've said it before. Pull out your shots, everybody. This podcast has changed the way I feel about movies. But there are just certain films that I'm not going to like from the get. And you know that in yourself. You watch a trailer for a movie and you go, not for me. And then you go on with your life. And that's what I do as well. I don't even watch horror films because I know that's not for me. And every once in a while I might be curious. And every once in a while, especially now, I might say, oh, that trailer actually looks pretty good. I might go see that with you. Or I'll wait till you see it and let me know whether or not you think I would like it, now that you kind of know what I do like about horror movies, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, horror comedy. I liked the suspense of The Thing, but I think that that's also because of how well it was made. But if you were to come to me and be like, I think it's another Thing type movie, you might enjoy it. I will take your opinion on it. But when it comes to Hereditary, I always knew that I was not going to like it. And I was fucking tired of people telling me that I was. And I'm going to go in on Friday to work, and they're going to be like, oh my God, what did you think about Hereditary? And I'm going to be like, I didn't like it. And then they'll all jump down my fucking throats. Because how dare I not like something that's popular? But it's a fucking Brussels sprout. I don't like it. There were things I liked. Toni Collette was amazing. The cinematography was really good. The music was terrifying, and I hated it, but it was good at what it was supposed to do, which was be terrifying. And Gabriel Byrne is hot. And the rest of the time, I was just sitting there like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be watching this, and I don't care. So I'm glad that you like it, honey, and I'm glad that the listeners who have seen it like it. I really, truly am. Like, guys, it's a Brussels sprout. It doesn't matter how much you tell me that I'm going to love it. I'm not. And it's okay. More for you. If fucking Caveman, if you wanted somebody to come over and watch a 4K rendition of Hereditary on our big-ass TV, I'd be like, oh my God, have so much fun. I'm going to be in the bedroom watching The Repair Shop and taking a nap. Or, watching this 3-hour-long Bollywood movie that my friends got me watching, which is, by the way, fantastic.
And what's it called?
It's called Jodha Akbar, and it's about a 16th century Muslim ruler of Hindustan, and his Hindi wife. He is a Muslim, and he has an arranged marriage with a Hindi wife, and causes all sorts of trouble, but they're actually deeply in love. And like right now I'm in the part where, although they're already married, they're starting to fall in love with each other.
Kind of like a Indian Romeo and Juliet.
No, because then it's also like this guy is trying to, Akbar is trying to bring together all the different like smaller tribes and smaller kingdoms under his rule, but there's a lot of like resistance to that, because the other tribes kind of view it as, an occupation, whereas he really just wants to kind of protect everybody, although he also wants to be in power. I don't know. It's interesting. And I am watching the subtitle version, so I've missed sometimes you kind of miss a lot of the dialogue. But cinematography is fantastic. The sets and costume design, top fucking tier. The giant fake elephant foot that they use to pop people's heads on the very bad battle sequences, hysterical. The music, stunning. There's one part where a bunch of at the wedding, a bunch of Muslim musicians sing a song to Allah, and it's so beautiful, and it's such a beautiful sequence that I cried. It's a really, really good film. Oh, and then so Jodha, she's the wife, right? And her milk mother-in-law, so her husband's wet nurse, who still is has an iron fucking grip on him, the same way that Annie's mother did in Hereditary. She's got this fucking iron grip on Akbar, and so the milk mother-in-law and the wife are now butting heads. Delightful. I am enjoying the hell out of this, and it's not a movie that I would ever watched before, but I trust my friend. I trust that I know I'm going to like it, because RRR is still the greatest movie I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's more my cup of tea than this.
Sure.
And so again, thank you for sharing it with me and for teasing me about it since we've decided to do this podcast, and we knew that I had to watch it, and I hadn't wanted to watch it since. But yeah, man, I'm glad you feel free to talk at length about what you like about it, because I'm glad that it's something that you like.
A couple other things that I like, other than the music, I like the sound design. I think it's got great sound design.
You should tell the story about when you went to see it in IMAX from behind.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot about that. So, obviously, Hereditary did its theatrical run, made its way to Blu-ray, and I don't know how I saw it first. It was probably on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, or Netflix, one or the other. I saw it there first and enjoyed it. But then last year, A24 was doing a re-release of a bunch of movies, and their first movie on the list was Hereditary.
On the IMAX screen.
On the IMAX screen, yeah. None of these movies had ever been on IMAX before, and yeah.
See, I'm still kind of glad I'm still kind of bummed I didn't go get to see Midsommar with you, because I think I would have enjoyed that. Ultimately,
yeah, it was. Midsommar was one of those movies, and it was a lot of fun to see. And it was the director's cut that they were showing in theaters. But Hereditary I had never seen in theater before, so I didn't get to enjoy the theatrical sound design. You know, they start showing. I think it was after Charlie had died, and it was really quiet, and somebody behind me made a noise. I'm like, God damn it. Like, we don't need, I get it, like, haha, it's funny. And then it happened again, and the person on screen reacted to it. I was just like, holy shit, it's not an audience member behind me doing it. It's the movie.
But you were very aware that you heard it behind you.
Yeah, it sounded behind me and to the right.
Yeah.
And, like, it was actually, I thought it was actually happening behind my right shoulder. And, nope, it's the movie. And
so
I
you
was
had a
like,
good time seeing it.
Yeah.
Who did you go see? You went to see with friends to see it, right?
That one I may have seen it with. I think I made Danny watch it for the first time that time.
Hell of a movie to see on the big screen.
Yeah.
Really quick, the scariest thing that I've ever heard behind me and to the right, and it's actually not that scary. I'm very confused by it, and I want to know more about it. But I work in a haunted building, and sometimes when I go to a particular set of bathrooms on the 3rd floor, I knock on the door to see if anybody is in there. And I would say about 80% of the time, and it doesn't matter what time of day it is, whether or not it's the middle of the day when those businesses up there are filled with people, or if it is at 5 a.m. on a Sunday when nobody else is in the building but 3 other people down in my store with me, I'll knock on that door and I'll hear behind me and to the right a door open up. I hear, like, I knock, and it's almost immediate, too. That's the other thing, is that there's not a pause. It's I knock, and a door behind me and to the right opens up. And it's not also that, like, it's not even that it's any elsewhere in the building. It's always behind me, and it's always to the right. And I've wanted to figure out why that is, but I can't seem to find the time to, dick off at work enough to go upstairs at 5 a.m. on a Sunday and try to figure out the reasoning behind that. But it's pretty spooky. But it's also pretty cool.
I also really like the editing in this movie.
Editing's good. The smash cuts are interesting.
Love the smash cuts.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ones is where it shows the house in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And it smash cuts to night, and they got those naked people surrounding the house.
Fucking Ari Aster loves his
He
naked old
people.
dong. Like, he's just...
Oh, yeah.
That old man dong just flopping in the wind.
It's in Hereditary. It's in Midsummer.
Beau's Afraid?
Beau's Afraid. Yeah, there's dong in Beau's Afraid.
Which I'm all for hanging dong in movies because it's about time. It's been enough titties and enough ass, but also it's always a little jarring because it's not the prettiest thing in the world.
Well,
especially from an old man, you're like, ah, ugh.
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't.
Yeah, it's not.
He doesn't pick like supermodels.
Dong.
He doesn't pick supermodels to be his nude models. He picks
a real dong.
He picks people who look like real people, not movie stars.
But it's still a little jarring when all of a sudden you're like, ah, old dong.
Down, boy, down. And then, of course, one of my favorite cinematography moments is the opening shot. I love...
That was a very good shot, how it...
starts on the treehouse through a window, and then backs up and then pans over to see Annie's workshop, and then focuses on one house and then zooms in on that one house on the top floor, and then it gets closer and closer to Peter's bedroom, and then Peter's bedroom becomes the actual set, and do not see any
You
cuts.
don't see the cut.
It's done so well.
For a first-time movie, it's a pretty well-done film.
It is.
I mean, obviously, I've only seen 2 of his 3. I will never watch Beau's Afraid.
No, and you shouldn't.
And, but...
See, and I know that about you.
Yeah.
I could be like, it's kind of like with Us, Jordan Peele's Us.
Yeah.
I'm like, you might enjoy it because it is another Jordan Peele movie, and you've enjoyed the first 2 to a point.
Yeah, I didn't
but
like
also,
the storyline.
This one's more like, almost like these masked strangers come to your house in the middle of the night and terrorize you.
Yeah, see, again,
that's how it starts, and then it unfolds into something absolutely completely else
That's-
and kind of bonkers, which I don't think you'd enjoy.
No, I don't
And
know.
Ari Aster's Beau's Afraid, it's unlike his first 2 films.
Yeah. And it's got Joaquin Phoenix
And
in
it's
it.
absolutely, even if it didn't have Joaquin Phoenix in it, it's still absolutely bonkers movie that I love watching.
Well, I'm glad that you like him so much.
Well, then I was going to say one last thing
Yeah.
about cinematography and the way things are edited. You'd have to rewatch it again, but there are some really good moments where the camera is actually looking at a miniature and not a set, but you think it's a set because it looks, it's so well done.
The miniatures are gorgeous.
And then there are other times when I think they try to make sets look like miniatures. So they go back and forth a lot of times, and sometimes you don't know if you're looking at a set or a miniature.
Yeah.
And even then when some of them are completely obvious because the camera started at it looking at the miniature. But yeah, overall, really, really solid movie. I personally give it 5.5 out of 5 stars.
5.5?
Yes.
Good for you, honey.
No. 4.5. I'm 4.5 out of 5.
Okay. This is tough for me because I don't want to give it like 2 stars because I just didn't like it. Meh. I have to, in my own way, appreciate how well it's directed, how well it's acted, the cinematography, the music. I was going to say even the story, but I actually don't like the story that much. It is a well-made film that I do not like. So I'm going to give it a 3.5, mainly for how well done it is. That's entirely the reason I'm giving it a 3.5. I guess I could give it a 4, but I've got to dock half a point for the fact that it's not my fucking thing. So I appreciate that it's a really well-made movie. I appreciate that all these fucking people out there loved it. I appreciate that it's your cup of tea. But I'm going to skip that and have some decaf instead. Or just literally some herbal tea or literally anything else. But so I will give it 3.5 out of how well it's crafted.
So Maggie.
Yes, Caveman.
I have 2 questions for you.
Hit it.
A bullet would be easier than dragging him here.
Eichmann will stand trial here in Israel.
Oh, that's from Operation Finale.
Yes, it is.
Is the other voice Nick Kroll?
It is, yeah.
I know that because I've actually seen that movie. It was a pretty good film. A lot of it, you get a lot of like behind the scenes shots of Oscar Isaac running and his old dad ass just like in those pants, just looking amazing.
I was watching some behind the scenes footage.
When he's like wrestling or like sparring with a...
I was watching him do push-ups.
Oh.
So...
No, it was a good film. Actually, I like that one a lot, and I love Nick Kroll. So, yeah.
Well, Maggie.
Yes, honey.
Would the presence of Oscar Isaac have made Hereditary a better film?
I guess yes, because at least I could have looked at his face. So sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, question number 2: Who would you have had Oscar Isaac play in Hereditary?
So that's kind of tough because the only real option is the dad. Although, no, I take that back. I would like to have watched a young Oscar Isaac be the son character.
Okay.
If I can pick any Oscar Isaac of all time.
You can.
First of all, I think that he still wouldn't have looked like he belonged in that family, much like the 2 children didn't look like their parents at all.
Or each other. Peter and Charlie did not look like each other, and neither one of them really looked like Toni Collette or Gabriel Byrne.
And I would like to watch Gabriel Byrne and Oscar Isaac act together, because that would make parts of me very happy. And Toni Collette, too, for that matter. I would
Get down with that threesome?
I'd get down with that. I would, right in there. So, yeah, I think he would have been good as Peter. Because while I didn't enjoy the performance of Peter because he was 26 years old, I have nothing bad against it. I would have enjoyed seeing a young baby Oscar Isaac play the little girl. That would have been interesting. Or just an old man Oscar Isaac playing the little girl. That also would have been funny. But I wouldn't have enjoyed watching him be decapitated by a fucking telephone pole. So
I would have liked them to give me a physical representation of the Demon King Paimon, and Oscar Isaac could play him.
Yeah, no, and then another reason to drag me to hell. Am I right?
Hey.
And that has been this week's episode of Movie Mingle on Hereditary, and we hope that you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Again, it's been a year of this silly little podcast, and I'm just so grateful for all of our listeners and the fact that we've had encouragement to keep going, and, you know, the fact that I've gotten to do this project with my best friend and my husband. It's been a lot of fun. And also thanks to everybody who's been on it. We've had a handful of guest stars, all of our friends. But, you know, movies are a very personal thing, but they're also something that you share with the people that you love. And I think that's why we kind of talk about mingling, because what's more fun than sitting down and watching a movie for good or for ill, you know, from your Lord of the Rings to your Hereditaries with people that you love, because then you get to have a really good discourse about them afterwards. And that's one of the great parts of life. Next week, we've got another film I'm not super excited about, which is The Godfather. I have never seen it, and I will feel like a Barbie while while watching it. But this Barbie and this Ken will definitely enjoy whatever conversation comes out of The Godfather. Apparently, some people think I'm going to love it. We'll see. So join us on Wednesday. And if you haven't checked it out yet, be sure to check out our special March bonus episode on the Irish classic Waking Ned Devine. Now that is my cup of tea when it comes to films. Tiny and Irish and adorable. I love it. You can always find us on Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd at MovieMinglePod. You can find us on YouTube at MovieMinglePodcast. And write us any of your questions, comments, love, or concerns at movieminglepod@gmail.com. We are always happy to get letters over there. And yeah, we're really excited for all good things to come. So we will see you back here next week. And until then, please take care of yourself. Please be safe, and don't stick your head out of the window of a moving car, but do go mingle. Bye!
Are you an effective team?
We are an effective team.
Let them fight.
How did you just do that?
I'm a really good lawyer.
Here on Caladan, we've ruled by air power and sea power. On Arrakis, we need to cultivate desert power.
Welcome, Mr. Beach. What's that bun? I'm a little confused.
Well, we wouldn't want that, would we?
I don't want to brag, but I will. I was in the Avengers.
The Avengers?
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
What is that?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Toga, toga, toga.